Okay, hello. My name is Sayyidatul Maghfiroh. I'm from research proposal A class, and in this video I would like to explain about my research proposal with the title Student Selection of Extensive Reading Resources to Develop Their Vocabulary Mastery at MA Manba'ul Hikam. First of all, I would like to introduce my introduction with the background. So the background is, in education era has developed to increase the students' interest in reading, but most of the students still has the literacy in low. So that's why some of the educational practitioners, teachers, and researchers attempt to find some strategies for obtaining the way to increase the reading, such as with the self-selection reading, extensive reading, with the read and plus strategy, and etc. And then the next is research questions. There is two research questions. First is, what is the student selection of resources in extensive reading at MA Manba'ul Hikam Sidoarjo? And the second is, how do the students select the resources in extensive reading to develop their vocabulary at MA Manba'ul Hikam Sidoarjo? And then the next is objective of the study. Objective of the study, there is two. The first is to investigate the student selection of extensive reading resources at MA Manba'ul Hikam Sidoarjo, and then to expect the way of students to select resources in extensive reading to develop their vocabulary at MA Manba'ul Hikam Sidoarjo. Okay, the next is significance of the study. This is significance of the study is for teacher and students. For the teachers can support their learning activity, meanwhile for the students can expose their vocabulary mastery. And the scope of limitation of the study is the scope. This teacher will analyze about the students' vocabulary after conducting investigation about the students' selections related to extensive reading in 11th grade and MA Manba'ul Hikam. And then the limitation of the study, the extensive reading or the way of reading just applied in intermediate level and advanced level. So the next is definition of K-term. Definition of K-term, there is three K-terms here: student selections, extensive reading, and vocabulary knowledge. So this, based on the three definition of K-terms, we can conclude that those of three aspects is very important in teaching and English learning process. Then the next is review of related literature. So there is a three: students' choice of reading resources, and then the next is reading with extensive reading and intensive reading, and then the next is vocabulary mastery in teaching. So based on the previous study that explained in the discussion, the researcher can obtain the gap. These are, the teacher can take the extensive reading to improve the vocabulary through self-selection of extensive reading. And then the next is method of the research. Method of the research study used descriptive, qualitative, and then with the participant from 11th grade of MA Manba'ul Hikam Sidoarjo, and the data of source data will take interview with the note taking from it as a primary data and a secondary data from journal articles, books, and etc. And the data collection technique, the researcher will use interview and question as the collecting techniques. And the instrument Obviously, there is a true too. There is interview guideline and questionnaire. And then the next is data analysis technique. Data analysis technique. The first is the teach after obtaining data. The researcher will entangle or explore the data in the process of coding. After that, to develop in general informations, and then indicating the findings and creating the commentary of the meaning. And the last is researcher conduct strategies to ratify the accuracy of the finding. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.